Welcome to another episode of Discourse. On this one, we're going to be ranking and reviewing every album from the used. My name is Nathan. With me are my two very good friends and co-hosts, Kyle and Jeff. Also joining us, we have a very special guest. We got JT from Famous Last Words and PostScript with us tonight. JT, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Super pumped to be here doing this with you guys.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you. I think this is going to be a really fun episode with how extensive this discography is and how varied a lot of these albums are.
Yeah.
Kyle, Jeff, how are you gentlemen doing?
Doing great. Very excited for this as well.
I always like a Halloween episode. Even though the Used isn't a Halloween band, I always like the Halloween episodes. It's very nice. It was a little spooky.
Yeah, it's there are moments in this discography that are a little spooky, sometimes for a good reason, sometimes for not so good reason. But I think there's something about like that kind of cinematic sound. That flair for the dramatic is always really good come this time of year. It just hits right.
Mm-hmm.
So JT, for anyone who may be unfamiliar, can you give us a quick rundown of who you are, what you do, and anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, for sure. My name's JT. I sing and scream for a band called Famous Last Words. And I have a solo project called PostScript, very different styles. Been doing that, Famous Last Words, since 2008. I'm the only original member that's still kicking. And we do concept records, and they're usually kind of fucked up. And I mean, that's probably a correct description. They're always like a deeper story that gets, some sort of dark twist is thrown in there. That's for most of all of our full length records. And then we have some EPs that we've done throughout the years, some singles. And yeah, just the Used was a huge influence. So I'm excited to be talking about them.
Yeah. And I think, who better to talk about potentially spooky albums than you in your work with Famous Last Words? I mean, there's a reason we covered your band at this time last year. That was our Halloween episode pick. And I think your description for the albums is pretty apt and pretty accurate.
Honestly, that episode last year was probably the biggest surprise of a band that I enjoyed, that I had never really listened to, that I continuously come back to. So thank you. I don't know.
That's so awesome.
Know where that was about to go, but thank you. That it was great.
And I will also throw out, we were talking about this a little bit before we started here tonight. That episode is actually how we got connected. You fact checked us when we were talking about Pick Your Poison, and you made it official. You let us know that there is no concept on that album, no story, no through line. It's just a collection of songs. And we were kind of speculating, is there a story? Is there not? We don't know. And you let us know. So I feel like it is our duty now to let the masses know through the podcast that there is no story there.
I thought it was hilarious because you're like, I just don't get this story. Like, this is a bad story. And I was like, you're right.
You're right, because there isn't one. Yeah, that's awesome. And so we were talking about it, and you said there's actually a lot I could fact check you on from that episode. And I would just love to know, what are some of the main things that we deserve to be held accountable for?
Oh man, I just know that when I was listening to it, I go, not quite, but they almost got it, like a few times, more than a few times. So I'd have to listen to it again to really get each point that was like not quite right. But you guys were really close on a lot of stuff, which I just thought was the coolest thing, because that means I did my job well. And we all have the same least favorite song from that band.
Oh yeah, you'll have to remind me, what was our least favorite song?
Scream.
Oh, respectfully, that checks out. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, that song was not my favorite. And if you weren't on, I'd probably call it garbage. But
it is not my favorite either. I do not like that song.
Interesting. What about it?
It's so annoying. It's Okay, so this song was mostly written between me and Matt Good. We did that EP with him, and he was, as we were working on the instrumental for it, because it was one of the things that we actually wrote in the studio, and that's not something we typically do. We usually have like an entire pre-pro'd out album before we show up to a studio to record. So this was very different for us. But as we were writing it, I heard the chorus, and I was like, immediately I go, oh no, this is one of those like la da da songs. And everyone's like, what? And I go, yeah, it is. I hate it, but it is. And we did it. And now it's like one of our top songs, and it makes me so mad.
That is really fascinating. I always get a little in my head when we have a guest from a band that we've talked about. I'm like, man, I'm pretty sure we probably said some things that were not very nice. And I'm like, oh man, if they heard the episode, what are they going to think about that? But often,
speak your truth.
I do stand by a lot of the things we say on here. But it's interesting to hear from your perspective as an artist who's not, there are going to be songs you write that you look back on and you're like, maybe not. But that's interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah, that's actually one that I knew I didn't like right away. It just was, it was fitting for the chorus. Like it fit the chorus, and the rest of the song was pretty cool. Like the breakdown part's super fun. And even the rest of it's still not my favorite song, but that chorus just pisses me off.
Okay, that honestly feels a little validating on our end.
I hope so. That was the goal.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You did mention, Famous Last Words recently put out The Show Must Go On Part 3. And you mentioned you haven't really covered the story of that or how it ties in. Would you like to give us a little hint or go into that a little bit?
Oh yeah, I'd love to. I've been dying to talk about this.
Please.
I've been meaning to make a video about it, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. So that's on me. But so at the end of the story of Two-Face Charade, everyone dies. And for forever, people kept saying, you need to make a Two-Face Charade 2, like a sequel. And I was, for 10 years, I'm thinking, that's not fucking possible. Everyone's dead. Like, what are you talking about? And I had zero ideas. But one day, just randomly, this idea hit me. And it was this way to kind of connect all three of our concept records. So in my head, he's in the afterworld in part 3, basically. He's like in hell. And in my head, this place that he's in is the same place as the Land of Deceased from Council of the Dead, which is the same place as the Nightmare Realm from The Incubus. Because I realized like all 3 albums have this dark, mysterious place that they end up in. So it's like, and I never really give it a true name. Like the Land of Deceased is the closest one, I guess. But yeah, so it's all the same place. And in part 3, what happens is the chairman from council actually gives the main character from Two-Face Charade this opportunity. He gives him this choice. So he can either stay in hell and suffer for eternity, but send Elise back, so the girl from Two-Face Charade, back to the living world. And that would kind of like redeem him, right? Or she stays there and him and his demon go back to the living world. So the whole song is like his inner demon trying to convince him not to save her so they can get the fuck out. And in the end, he chooses to, redeem all the awful shit he did and send her back to the living world. And he stays and suffers in hell for eternity with his inner demon.
Wait, that's awesome. And I love that through line that kind of ties all the projects together. That's so cool.
That is cool.
Thank you. That was the only way I thought of that I could possibly extend that story.
And I think that's perfect. Like it works so well. And honestly, it being, so long after Two-Face Charade, that passage of time almost makes it have more impact. That's so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to do. It took me like 2 years to really hone it in. And that was not like constantly working on it. That was, bits and pieces here and there. But we really wanted, like, it was me, our old bass player who wrote Two-Face Charade with me, who hasn't been in the band for a very long time. He co-wrote part of that song with us. and it was me and Nick Sampson who really hammered it in. And we were just trying to figure out. So Nick Sampson was the producer. He was the engineer on Two-Face Charade and the producer for Council. So me and him just spent a lot of time trying to figure out a way to recapture that same sound without it just sounding like a B track from that album. Like make it a little bit modern and a little bit reinvented, but capturing that same energy that that album had.
Yeah, and I think y'all pull that off very well. It feels simultaneously nostalgic, but also very fresh.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun to do, and then we went real heavy at the end of it, which was always super fun. So
yeah, and so you clearly have a knack for storytelling, and I'm so curious what your process is for balancing that and the music itself. Like, how do you go about storytelling through an album? Because I would imagine it's very different than a lot of other mediums. Like, do you come up with the story all ahead of time? Is there ever a time where you're like, hey boys, this part of the story is very, like we need a heavier track for this outburst of anger? Or is it more kind of balanced where you hear a track and you think, okay, we can take the story this direction at that point?
it is almost always the story first. Actually, I think it is always the story first. I'll have like, musical bits, whether it's a melody, a lyric, or, a riff or something that I'll do a voice memo of, or, something. Like I have a little treasure trove of bits, right? But when it comes to the concept stuff, it is almost always the story first, because that's what I use to really direct where the music goes. And it's not just song per song, it's section of the song per section of the song. Like I actually literally just did this today. No one knows this yet, but we're gonna be possibly doing like a Christmas song, and I came up with this story. I'm not gonna give it away just yet, but it's I love it. I'm really excited about it, and I broke down each section of the song and sent it to the guys today. And it's like, this is what we need to be feeling at this point. This is what we need to be feeling at this point, because this is what's going on in the story. This is what I'm gonna be talking about in this section of this song. So like breaking it down that way just guides the direction for the tone of the instrumental and like the energy overall.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think that dedication to the craft really comes through in all the songs that you do, because like I would imagine it is very hard to tell a story through an album, and the way that they come through so clearly on each project is so impressive. Even if we need to be fact checked from time to time, like you get the general feel for the plots and where it's going and what you're supposed to be feeling, and it's so well executed. And that's why I had to know, like, what is the process there. So that makes a lot of sense that it's story first, especially when you look at something as story heavy as The Incubus, which is just incredible.
Oh my God, there's one song on that record that just has so many lyrics. The Judged.
Yeah,
because it's literally the singing is Christine, the main character, and the screaming is this lawyer character who is like trying to blame everything that happened to her on her in the middle of this trial. That's what's happening in the story. So I'm literally like talking to myself between the screaming and the singing of that entire song. And there's so many lyrics to it. So it's tough because I always try to, for the choruses, because that's the part, that's the repeated part. That's the part that people are going to resonate with the most. I try to make those a little more vague and a little more focused on the core message of the song rather than straight story focused. And sometimes some are more vague than others, and some are have more story elements in the chorus than others. Like The Show Must Go On. That's very, very story driven chorus. It's hard to listen to that song and think of anything but some fucked up shit. So like it is the balance between like the story heavy verses and pre-choruses and all that stuff, and the more vague choruses. That's usually where I find the balance. But it's hard but I also try to leave it open for interpretation, to an extent. So like I want people to hear it and take away from it whatever they need to take away from it.
Yeah. That's so cool. And I feel like I now have to go back and listen to all these albums again with that in mind and listen for the stories and the themes and everything like that. It's a good time of year to do
it. Right? Yeah. It's so fun to do. I love doing concept stuff. It's a blast. Even the little one, the negative EP, that one like could have definitely been more. But I kind of loved that it was just like you found out this thing was gonna happen, and then the second song, it happened. And it's like that was it.
Yeah.
JT, you sent us your solo material. It's nothing like what we've heard from you before. What inspired that? What kind of kicked it off? Because it's very ambient. It's very clean. It's very, very interesting and fascinating. And yeah, I'm just curious if you could unpack for us sort of how that came about and what inspired it, and if that's going to be released to the public at some point.
Yeah, I'd love to. So I'm so excited about this EP. It's like there's parts of it that are kind of pop punky. There's parts that are, kind of rock. There's pop elements. There's dark, heavier elements to it still somehow. And somehow we figured out how to make it just work. Me and the producer, Nick Scott. And I'm so grateful to just have this EP. The last 2 years, to be frank, were just very difficult. A lot of personal things that I was going through. So having this EP to work on was my outlet, and it was like I needed it, and I needed it so bad. It was almost like a very bittersweet moment when it was all said and done. Like I only just got the masters back like last week.
Oh wow!
And I've been working on it for 2 years. So there was a lot of changes. This was a lot of the hooks were written when I was going on like walks. I walk a lot. That's a thing that I started doing just for my mental health, but also my physical health. And it's now become this like huge part of my daily routine. So I'll walk like 2 hours every single day. And I noticed after a few months that or it's probably like a year actually, that I just had this massive like treasure trove of voice memos. I was like, oh, I should probably do something with these because I really like them. So I took them to Nick Scott, and then we started working on it. And I feel like it's one of the best things I've ever written personally. And my first band I was ever in was a pop punk band when I was like 14. And I feel like this EP specifically, because the album before this for PostScript was very like pop, which was fun, and it was me experimenting and trying new things, and that was great. But there was still pieces of it that didn't feel super genuine. But this one, everything is just really, really vulnerable, really genuine. It just feels like every musical aspect of me made it into this EP, and that it's just like I couldn't be more excited and to share this with everyone. So I think this is going to be coming out around like end of November this year. But yeah, it's
awesome.
It's deep.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's amazing in it. And for what it's worth, it sounds amazing. Master, the mixing, the production, the vocals, the journey that it's really, really good, really fascinating. I've
Thank you
enjoyed
so
it
much.
a lot.
I appreciate it. You guys are like some of the first to hear it.
That's
cool.
Crazy to me, but
That's
it's an
cool. bunch of monkeys. That's cool.
Well, Jeff, I know you have your patented Discog Discourse question ready to go over there.
I do. I have the transition question ready. JT, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. First of all, we're huge fans, obviously, so it's been a real pleasure. Obviously, this episode's about the Used, so I'm just wondering kind of what your relationship is with the Used, when you started listening to them, and their influence on Famous Last Words.
Yeah. So I started listening to the Used. It was like the Used in my camp because they were, two peas in the pod around this time that I started getting into this type of music. The first band that I ever saw live was My Chemical Romance. Actually, I was 14 years old, and my sister took me to see them. They were touring Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge, and on that tour was Alkaline Trio doing Crimson, and then this band called Reggie and the Full Effect. And Alkaline Trio is also like such a good band, and especially that record. But so when I saw My Chem, I just started, going crazy. I started listening to Thursday more. I started listening to The Used. I just kind of dove head first. Then my sister she really showed me a lot of this music. I got to give her a lot of credit. And we were listening to the Used self-titled album, and holy shit, I couldn't even believe how good it was. The way his voice sounds, like this pain that's in his voice, this punchy, angsty ass pain that is in Bert's voice, especially in that record, just fucking got me. And then I just listened to it a lot. And me and he was our old bass player, actually. His name's Matt Bell. I've known him since like 6th grade, and he was my neighbor, and we're still best friends to this day. We just listened to The Used all the time. So I think a lot of like the creepiness from The Used and a lot of John Feldman's production that he did was so influential into what made it into Famous Last Words, and how theatric it got at times, and kind of experimental, but like dark experimental, but it's not always dark either, because there's parts in some of the Used songs where it's like, I don't even know what to call it. But it's like, God, there's this one song in Lies for the Liars where it goes into this like opera singer kind of thing. And I always thought it was this like, it got some woman to go in there, and then I heard that it was Bert, and I was like, no shit. And I don't know. They just did all this fun experimental stuff. I'm pretty sure I heard this rumor, and it's probably true, where they got like a vibrator and put it on the pickup of one of the guitars, and that was one of the sound design elements that made it into the record. Like shit like that. I was fascinated by that.
That's wild, but also
That's so cool.
unsurprising. The sound design on that album is crazy.
Oh my God. Yeah. So, yeah, the songwriting, it was so catchy. It was heavy. His scream sounded like no one else's I'd ever heard. Still sounds like no one else I've ever heard. So big shout out to Bert. Fucking incredible.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, that would have been a fantastic transition, but we do have a question from our Patreon.
Ooh.
This question is from Derek Dorian, day one, Patreon. And we'll also hear more from him later. He asks, JT, if any of your albums could be adapted as a film, which one would it be and why?
Now that's a good question.
That's such a good question.
Easy. Council of the Dead for sure.
Yeah? Why is that?
Oh, yeah. I think that's got the best story. I love the way that story is told. It's not linear. Yeah. We're seeing all these different. It was really inspired by the movie Crash. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But so that movie, it's like all these different perspectives of this car crash event that happened. And you don't really, if I remember correctly, it's been forever that I've seen it. But if I remember correctly, you kind of find out that they're all connected at the end. Like throughout the whole movie, it's just these side stories that keep jumping around. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So I was trying to figure out a good way to do that with an album. It's like each person's story is their own song. So just the storytelling of it was really fun. And then I can see it as a movie because I saw Crash as a movie, and it's very similar. So yeah, I would love to. I still want to do that as a movie.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And so JT, now we're gonna start transitioning.
All right.
Where can we find you, Famous Last Words, and PostScript on social media?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, PostScript Official, and Famous Last Words Band. You can follow me too. It's JTFLW, and then we're also on Facebook. I've got my own personal TikTok where I do some Famous Last Words stuff and PostScript stuff, and that's just JT Tollas. But those are probably the best places for sure.
Perfect. And if you want to join the discourse, you can follow us on Twitter at discog_pod, on TikTok at discog_discourse, and on Instagram at discog.discourse. As I mentioned, we also have a Patreon for anyone interested in supporting the show. You'll get bonus episodes where we determine the top 10 songs for whatever band we're covering. You'll be able to vote on what bands we cover when we don't have guests. And as you'll hear later, our second tier donors can read off their own rankings on this show. Also, just for algorithm purposes, if you could be so kind as to leave us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening on, that would help us out a ton. And we do have one single tweet that we want to shout out from the last episode. And if you want to shout out on the next episode, all you got to do is quote our rankings and give us your takes. This one singular tweet is from the Nirvana episode that we just did with Brent from Greyhaven. This is from Dear Embelina. They said Bleach is better than Nevermind. Again, love a Bleach head. It's just not, but I can respect the hustle. Kyle, I know you have strong thoughts about that. JT, do you have thoughts on Nirvana?
Not really.
Perfect. Love it. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to a band you do have thoughts on.
That is like for real one of the worst takes I've ever seen. Like, and I'm not even joking. Bleach better than Nevermind is actually, forget it. Let's move on. I mean, that's crazy. And I mean, God dang, man.
He rage baited you for sure.
Oh,
yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. And it works.
Yeah,
it works
man.
every time.
Pissed me off. A little housekeeping. Are we not doing Shallow Believer by The Used?
We are not. Because that is B-sides and deep cuts.
Dude, I didn't even know that. That's my number 6 album. God dang it.
Not anymore.
Technically, Meds are B-sides too.
Well, yeah, some of them for sure.
They should have stayed as B-side. They should have stayed.
We'll get into it. But they should have. I didn't. Hey, look. Hey, that may be some poor research on my end, but it's listed on Wikipedia, the source of all things 100% true,
100%
as a full-length release. Whereas Shallow Believer was listed as a collection of B-sides, and that's what I used to determine what we're covering. We're also not covering any EPs.
Wait, what number did you put that at, Shallow Believer?
Number 6.
Okay, that's fair. Because it's like,
there are some really good
There's
songs.
some good stuff on there.
There's some good ones. Yeah.
It might resurface in the top 10 discussion for songs, but I digress.
I think that's fair. What is it? Choke Me.
Choke Me's really good.
Oh yeah,
is awesome. That song is so good, but we won't be talking about it tonight.
See, I feel like a lot of their albums are like they kind of fall into that 5, 6 range, which is great because they're very good.
They're all good.
They have other ones that are just such bangers.
For sure.
Non-skip bangers.
We'll start getting into this. And the way this is going to work, if this is your first episode, we're going to go through JT's list from his least favorite album to his favorite. And as he reveals albums, Jeff, Kyle, and I will also reveal where they are in our list. And we'll have one cohesive discussion about it. And so all the housekeeping out of the way, all of our one single shout out of the way, social media plug done. JT, what is your least favorite album from The Used?
My least? Oh, okay. The Canyon.
Whoa!
Yep, for sure. 100%.
I respect that so much. I respect that so
worst
much.
album.
I respect it.
I love what it's about. So like, I do love what it's about. I think what they did there was beautiful and like courageous because it's scary as fuck to do something like that. So like, as it comes to that, I have a ton of respect for it. I could barely get through listening.
Like what?
I could
fill us in.
Like a incredibly raw album after so many not raw albums. Taking that chance and being that vulnerable is scary as fuck, especially when you're doing something that's so close to your heart. And you know that about a person that was so close to you that you lost. That is a scary thing to do. and they did it. And they did it hard, and they did it with a producer they don't normally go with. And I know they weren't with John Feldman for all their records, but a lot of them. And that was one of the, middle ones that they jumped. So like that's scary to do, but man, I did not like it. That being said, I didn't like the songs. I didn't love some parts of how rough it was. And that's just a personal taste thing, but that put it at the bottom of my list.
Yeah, we are all over the map on this one.
Yeah, I have it at number 4. Jeff's got a number 7. Nate's got a number 8. JT's got a number 10. Is the production a little bit raw?
Yes.
Yes.
A little. No, it's very raw.
Is the album a little fatty? And when I say a little fatty, a 17-song album is really never okay.
Dude, it's super bloated. It's
an hour and 20 minutes. Are you kidding me?
Yes, it is. It is kind of bloated. And when I say kind of, I mean quite bloated. They could have cut about 30 minutes out. Even though 20. Listen, here's the thing, and I didn't think that I would. You see a 17-song, hour and 20-minute album, and you roll your eyes. The first couple listens through for this, I was rolling my eyes most of the time. But when I really started sitting down and listening to it, and listening to the emotion and the conviction and the story this album is telling, there are some beautiful, massive moments on this album that you don't hear anywhere else in their discography. Highlights, Moving the Mountain, I think is near, I mean, that's a top 10 song for me. It's a gigantic, well, I'm not going to say masterpiece, but it is an epic. It is an epic song.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one.
It's one of my favorites on here. I love Vertigo Cave. I love Funeral Post. I think the emotion in those songs it's so palpable. Cold War Telescreen, Nathan, I remember listening to this with you right when it came out. That's a great song. The delivery, the bass, it's just a big, this is an album full of big songs. It's also an album full of fat songs. And those two things are not the same. They're quite opposite to me. Like I don't love Rise of Lights. I don't like Pretty Picture that much. I'm not a huge fan of the Divine Apps. Like there's like we've talked about, there's a lot that could be cut out, but it is telling a story. It is telling an emotional story. And I really enjoy it. I think it kind of falls off after Quiet War.
Yeah.
Quite a bit, actually. I mean, it really falls off after Moving the Mountain. Like Over and Over Again is catchy, but it kind of sounds like a garage band song, respectfully. Like a song.
See, I love that. I love that song. I thought that was catchy.
I do too. It's a catchy song, but the drum line, the drum part, for some reason, I'm just like, I feel like I've heard that just as a garage band loop a million times.
and actually, let me take that back. I really like that song. I don't love that song. I really like that song though. I don't want to go too high, you know.
Yeah. This is last place after all. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I actually also really liked For You, just that opening track with the spoken word. I thought that was beautiful. I thought it set the mood for everything really well. But man,
that's fair. I didn't, but typically I count spoken word a lot of the times as interludes, but that's just because I have a small brain and low attention span.
Totally fair.
I like the story that this is telling. I like the emotion. I think it's one of the more interesting albums in their discography in some ways. But like we talked about, not the best production. It's a big album though. So
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Nathan, Jeff.
Kyle, to your point, I do remember checking this out when it came out. And I remember being immensely disappointed because, I mean, especially at the time, if it wasn't heavy or even remotely aggressive, I did not care. That's just where I was at and what I enjoyed in music. Didn't want anything to do with it. And I have not listened to it since then because I always had that taste in my mouth that this album was not for me. And I am glad to say that I was able to come back to it because I do think there's some pretty interesting songs on here. And I can really appreciate how different it is from most of their albums. And I can appreciate that they're going in a really interesting direction on here. And like, it all feels very intentional. And it doesn't really feel like, you know, I feel like a lot of times when a band mellows out, the immediate reaction is, oh, pop rock to get on the radio, blah, blah, blah. Like a very basic take like that. But this album doesn't feel like that at all. Like this, it feels very like alternative indie. Like the production is very stripped back and interesting. And interesting doesn't always equal good in my mind. And I think that's kind of the case on this album. It is a very interesting album. It's a very interesting project. I wouldn't say it's particularly good, and it's certainly not what I'm looking for in the used.
I agree with that so hard.
Yeah. The production to me is like I think I can hear what they're going for. But with this stripped back approach on here, I think a lot of the time the result is it ends up feeling really flat and even at times kind of unfinished. And that may be just my preconceived notion with the used is you are getting very developed, very full, adding all the bells and whistles in there and all these production tricks and sound designs. And that's just not the case on here. And so it feels wrong to me in a way. It feels off. And I think some of the biggest examples of that are tracks like Vertigo Cave and Pretty Picture. They just, that flat sound, it's I don't want to use the B word, but it's kind of boring at times. And when you have a 17 track album, you really start to feel the runtime when much of the album feels flat and there's not that energy to it. I do think there are a handful of like decent songs on here. I do like Rise Up Lights. I like Funeral Posts. I like Moving the Mountain. Songs that we've already mentioned. You know, it seems like we're all gravitating towards the same ones. But I would say even then, I mean, this is pretty low on my list. Each of those songs has things that don't completely come together for me. Like in Funeral Post, I like everything that's going on except for the chorus. And that's a pretty big thing to like not like about a song because it all kind of revolves around that. And especially when they hit that key change at the end, it doesn't hit my ears right.
I do think the key change fell on its face. I 100% agree with that.
It just doesn't hit my ear right. And that's, you know, maybe it's on the receiving end thing. Maybe it's just me. But I mean, a lot of this album feels kind of flat to me. I can appreciate what they're going for. I don't know that it sticks to landing all the time. I certainly think it's bloated. And at the end of the day, it's just not what I'm looking for from the used. And that's fine.
Yeah, Nathan, just to echo everything you talked about, just to round out the discussion, for an album so long, there needed to be more meat on the bone, I felt like. And when you're talking about the flat production, this album just ends up all blending together when I was listening to it, at least. And when you have songs blending together for an hour and 30 minutes, it's hard to put it any higher than what I have. The reason why I don't have it lower, though, is because I don't think there are any outright stinkers on this album like they have on other albums where there are outright stinkers, like just downright bad music. I don't really think there's bad music on here, but kind of like you said, there's some boring, uninteresting, flat music. And that's kind of where I landed on it as well.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think there's anything particularly heinous on here. And there are a couple albums in this discography that have some heinous moments.
Oh, boy, are there.
Bad stuff.
The last thing I want to say, because I think we said a lot about this. Upper Falls, I like that song a lot. I think it's really interesting. I like the chorus, but that's the last my last piece on this.
My note on that song is, oh man, that chorus really came out of nowhere and does not gel with the song.
I like it. I think it brings things together, but I can completely see how you would say that.
Yeah. Kyle, I can't believe this is number 4 for you. That's crazy. And that really shakes up a lot of your list.
No, it doesn't. My list is pretty good. The list I compiled 30 minutes ago.
All right.
JT, any parting words of hate for the Canyon?
Whoa.
No parting words of hate. It just wasn't for me. Like, I know what exactly what you guys were saying. Like, I know what they were going for, and it does make me feel better knowing that they did it on purpose.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Was not on purpose, then I'd have different things to say. But yeah, that was my least favorite for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, what's your number 9?
That'd be Meds.
Yep. Good.
Yeah.
Good shout.
Great point.
Good.
Excellent
shout.
work.
Yeah. I mean, and it just kind of goes, honestly, it's hard not to go right into my next one too, because they're the same album almost. And which would be Toxic. So I'm just
We'll get there.
I'm gonna jump
We'll
the
get there.
gun. But like, yeah, like Meds is just it wasn't even
That is exactly right. It is just a heavy sigh of an album.
it wasn't even that it was like terrible or anything. Like Terrified, I actually really like that song. But the lyrics, I think that's what got me on this one.
Yes.
Is these lyrics are so uninspired and like
Yeah.
it was one of the first new ones that I listened to because it was the most recent release. So it was one of the first ones when we decided to do this that I listened to, and I'm like, what? Like, no way. Like, what happened to like his awesome lyric? That's one of the best parts about the Used is his incredible lyrics, and it was just like, I don't know. It's boring. I'll use the B word.
Yeah. It's like, imagine naming a song "Pain Is My Therapy."
Ugh.
Well, can I talk about depression personified just real quick?
You can.
Go for it.
For a genre and a band that prides itself on recognizing mental illness, for speaking out about mental illness, how could you make a song called Depression Personified, where the depression is like, I'm going to get you, I'm going to cut your eyelids. Like, it's so cringe. And I think it does so little justice for people actually suffering from depression to listen to a song like that almost makes it sound like a joke. That song just actually made me really mad.
I think that's so fair.
You're onto something here, because there's no nice way to say this. I really dislike this album, and I find a lot of it very grating. And I think a large part of that is this is the MGKification of the Used.
Oh my God, you nailed it.
You
just nailed it, dude.
I hate what MGK did to pop punk, because it really feels like someone coming in and knowing all of the generic tropes of the genre and using that and solely that to try to emulate what's good about the genre, but not actually understanding anything it is about pop punk that makes it great. And I feel like the Used heard MGK and was like, we can do that with like emo alternative music. It doesn't have to be pop punk. We can do it here. And that same misunderstanding and the lack of depth in the lyrics that MGK, his music suffers from, is a lot of what drags this album down. And I think you talking about Depression Personified is like the perfect example of that. And I will give the Used credit. Instrumentally, this is better than anything MGK has ever done and likely will ever do. But the lyrics on here are so tough. And I mean, the first 3 tracks, I mean, even the titles tell me everything I need to know about the album. Meds, FU, people are vomit. Like,
People are vomit.
it's terrible. Like, we talk a lot on this show about, like the total packaging of an album, like hearing the music, looking at the album artwork. Do they match? Do they feel like they go together? And this is that, but in the worst possible way, because you can look at this album, the artwork, the name, the song names, and you get it. It is every bit as bad as you think it's going to be based on those things. And I would honestly go so far as to say this is alternative culture bait. Like, these are songs written to pop off on the alt side of TikTok and just be big misfit anthems. And it is so painfully see-through, in my opinion. And it just, I truthfully have nothing good to say about this album. And I fear they could always redeem themselves. But if I were to call it right now, the Used might be washed.
I have something good to say about this album. I don't mind FU.
No,
I
Dude,
don't.
no, come on, man. I was gonna
I
say
think-
Terrified is pretty good. Sisyphus and Terrified are okay.
Terrified
Sisyphus is
like
fine.
catchy.
Terrified's fine.
I mean, literally, I have it written down that it does pain me to say, but it is kind of a fun song. And,
Is that your therapy?
No, that song, the note on it is imagine being 40 and naming a song this.
Yeah, it felt out of touch.
It is so
it's
out
definitely
of
out of
touch.
touch.
Yeah, it does feel out of touch. Yeah.
The only good thing about this album is that it's 29 minutes long. That's
Facts.
literally it.
Could you imagine if this was an hour 20? An hour 20 of
I wouldn't make
this?
I wouldn't make it.
Oh, it's so bad. And I mean, like, Tell Me might be the most annoying The Used song I've ever heard.
That's a bad song.
That song is so grating, and it's not doing itself any favors being at the end of this already grating album. But it is.
That song just cracks me up, man. It's so bad.
It's
How can
so
you have a whole
bad.
chorus just tell me? Like, it's so bad.
I don't see a world where they recover from this album, which is so sad because like we know what they're capable of as a band. Like their highs are so high, but this is so lost and so out of touch. And I don't see it. I just don't see it happening, which is so sad. But I probably would have said that after the Canyon too. So you never know.
That's true. Wasn't Toxic Positivity like also B-side stuff? Like, and these were kind of like the same album.
They really are very similar albums.
Well, I read that it was supposed to be a 2 CD, like a 2-disc album. They just turned into two separate albums with some shared songs.
That would make so much sense to me. Do we want to look? I don't want to jump the gun, but would this discussion lead into your 8 potentially?
I think it would very much lead into my 8.
Okay, well then let's leave Meds behind us and let's move on.
Yeah.
Well, the last thing I want to say about Meds, if I
Okay.
may,
You may.
is Tell Me is actually like one of the worst songs I can remember listening to in the last while. But my favorite part of it is I need you like a masochist needs pain.
Ugh.
That's like a legitimately bad lyric.
Yeah.
Like a one that like makes you step back and you're like, what am I listening to? Like this stinks. Anyways, let's go on to Toxic Positivity.
All right.
Yeah.
For podcasting cohesion's sake, I'm going to ask you the question, JT. What is your number 8?
All right, so my number 8 is Toxic Positivity. For sure, they go hand in hand with Meds because it's the same album.
It
basically. So almost everything that I said previously about Meds also applies to this one. I would say this is like marginally better because there's 2 songs that when I was listening to it, I actually I fucked with a little bit, and that was The Worst I've Ever Been and Dopamine. Like Dopamine had a pretty catchy chorus.
Yeah,
I agree.
Like that one was good. The rest of it was like just it's more uninspired lyrics. Like it's crazy to me to have an album of B-sides, like I get it, but then to have an album of B-sides and then a second album of the B-sides is like
C-sides.
C-sides? What? Those are the ones you don't release those, right? Like
Those are the ones you don't
I
put
know.
like you don't record those.
There's a reason they're C-sides. The non-existent side of the record. Shouldn't
Those
exist
are the ones
yet.
that you joke about making in the studio, but no one hits record.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, and that one's I Hate Everybody.
Oh,
That's the worst song I've ever heard, probably.
dude, that song is so bad. Like I Hate Everyone is like the precursor to Meds. It's like they're like, what if we did an album of I Hate Everybody's? And it is so that song. My note is just simply performative emo. I Hate Everybody is performative emo. Same way that most of Meds is alternative bait. Like it is just, it feels so obviously crafted to appeal to the hot topic, my music scares people crowd.
But it's not good enough to reach that crowd.
No.
Like, that's the problem. Like,
Well, it might be though.
there's no way Toxicosity has any type of a cult following.
No,
there's no
definitely
way.
not.
Dude, I didn't even know it existed.
And I'm sorry we had to bring it to light for you. I hear something like I hate everybody, and I'm like, this is the exact kind of song that Netflix would like shoehorn in to use as a stinger at the end of an episode of Wednesday. And everybody rolls their eyes. And it's just like, I'm different. I am not like other people. I'm a little bit dark. I'm a little bit twisted.
Edgy.
I'm edgy. And it's like, that energy is all over this album and all over Meds.
It's a great example, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Nathan's not messing around tonight.
No.
He's on
I
it.
have a lot of thoughts on the used. But I will say, to give this album some credit, I think it is a step up from Meds. And I think there are a handful of songs that are not bad, especially instrumentally. I think they're still doing some kind of fun stuff on here. Certainly not as interesting as anything that came before it in their discography. Starting to feel a little tired maybe, but it's not as just brutal as Meds is. And I think
I don't agree.
really, I mean like the opening track, The Worst I've Ever Been, I'm like, this is fine. It's super surface level and clearly written to appeal to the largest number of people possible.
Yep.
But instrumentally, I don't hate what's happening. I feel the
I
same
agree.
way about Numb.
I mean,
The chorus is really rough, but
I mean, if I could bury both of these in the ground together, I probably would.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I do think
oh,
his
yeah.
vocals. I do think his vocals are a bit more dynamic on Meds, and I think there's just more generic. Like this is real. Everything to me is generic slop on here. Which and their lyrics are not. The lyrics are really not much better than Meds. I mean, like on Cherry,
No, they're not.
it used to be the cherry on top, and now I'm the nail in the coffin. Bury me.
I wrote that.
Oh,
Yeah,
come
God.
on, man.
You know what? I don't really hate that. I don't really hate that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, okay, it's corny, it's whatever.
It's very
but not
it's
as-
very corny. And I've written some corny lyrics too in my day, but that's pretty fucking corny.
If you'd ever written something like that, I'm sure we would have discussed it.
I would have heard it in your episode, yeah.
I will take a lyric with some level of imagery like that, no matter how corny, over I feel numb, does anyone else feel numb? That just kind of misfit anthem bait that's not saying anything. There's no imagery, there's no creativity. That kind of stuff is what drives me up the wall.
I hard disagree.
Really?
So do I.
Yeah, because at least with something that's repeated over and over again, like you can draw your own shit from that. When you're so fucking specific about something that sounds poetic, but when you think about it, just as like either doesn't make sense or is just stupid.
It's fake
like,
deep.
You're just trying. Yeah, it's fake deep. And
Okay,
fake
that's
deep
fair.
bums
Okay,
me
you
out.
know what? I will give y'all the point there, and I will rescind my argument. That's a great point.
We
That's all
did
I
good.
got. Slop.
I don't know.
I also hate like the techno electro elements. I hate that on here.
Yeah, I wasn't.
That's why
They've done it well.
Bottom.
They've
They
done
have
it
done it
well
well.
in some part in some other albums, but like this was just everything. The lyrics were the first thing that I was like, what is happening here? And then the rest of it was just B-side energy the entire time.
And it's so crazy because like there is a catastrophic drop off on the lyrics on these last two albums.
Yes.
Like and there
Huge.
I think you could argue there are hints of it on the album directly before this.
Yeah.
But it is a catastrophic fall off a cliff between that album and this album. That said though, I don't mind Pinky Swear. I don't mind Dancing with a Brick Wall. There are songs on here that I do not mind. They are songs I would never seek out, but I didn't mind listening to them for this. Meds I hated all of.
Yeah, I second
fair.
that.
But that said, I mean, both of these albums are in the bottom 2 or 3 for all of us.
Yeah, they're
So
interchangeable
hopefully-
for me.
I think from here things get noticeably better.
Oh yeah.
There's one other album that I really dislike, but that's
I hope it's the same one I'm thinking of. I think it might be.
I hope so too.
Well, let's see if we're all on the same page. JT, what is your number 7?
All right, my number 7 is Imaginary Enemy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, dude.
Yes.
Oh, we're back. Oh, we're back.
we are so back.
Jeff, you and I have
Yeah.
we're kind of vibing. Right
You're-
Yeah, if you
you're
shifted the
locked in.
candy down a little bit, we'd have the same list.
Yeah, wasn't gonna happen, but
Yeah.
Look, y'all are saying that JT and I aren't too far off either. And I would say
That's
we're
true.
actually grouped better than y'all are. Not that it's a competition, but it is a little bit.
yeah, but Jeff and I
little
are exact same 10 through 8. Anyways, JT, what do you think about Imaginary Enemy?
So yeah, Imaginary Enemy. It's like, see, this is where I was starting to get like, oh, it's like it's the used. It's a used album, for sure. It's
Yeah.
like, beyond that, like the political direction, I didn't love it. That's not why I listened to the used, and I appreciate like that's they wanted to go that direction with it, but like, and it wasn't. The thing is, it's not bad. I feel like from here on out, like none of them are bad, but this one just didn't. I didn't connect with the songs. So again, it's about the lyrics. But there was nothing about these lyrics that like I personally really connected with.
For sure.
And then the rest of it. Here's the thing with these later albums, they've been doing this so long with John Feldman. Like this was a John Feldman record too, I think. And I think this was also the last record that Quinn Allman was on. And like after he left, the songwriting got significantly worse. So I have to imagine that he had a lot to do with the songwriting, because the earlier work was so good. But this one, I don't know. I just couldn't connect with it, and it's really hard to maintain your identity that people fell in love with when you've been doing it for so long, while also keeping it not sounding like B songs. Because people they have this preconceived notion of what you're supposed to sound like. I mean, we've been talking about it all this whole time. There's a reason you listen to the used. You love the used for those specific elements that you get from it. But there's a point where it's like there's only so many ways to do like little string plucks and to do the creepy Bert laugh. And like this one just didn't hit it for me, mostly again because the theme and the lyrics. Like the music wasn't bad, there was some catchy stuff in there, but like none of it was sticky to me and none of it like spoke to me.
Yeah. Okay, quick question. Have you listened to this album before?
No. This was
Okay.
for this was the first time I listened to it, was getting ready for this.
Okay, same. I had heard a song to Stifle Imperial Progression. Best song on here, by the way.
Agreed.
I really like that song.
Definitely.
I do too.
I would even go so far to say that is a great The Used song. The rest of this album, on the other hand, completely agree. Doesn't quite land. And I think I'm gonna throw out a little bit of not a political tangent, but let me throw out a theory. I think in today's current political climate, a lot of this comes down as comes across rather as kind of corny. And I think a lot of that has to do with how optimistic some of this feels. Whereas today, I feel like people are a lot more cynical and a lot more down about where we're currently at. And so some of these lyrics, I mean, like, I think people would refer to it as Obama era optimism, kind of recognizing that there's a need for change and retaining hope that it can happen. And I think just where we're at right now, there's a disconnect from this and that.
Right. Yeah. It's like, that's a cute thought.
Yeah. I love that you could think that things could change, but it sure don't seem like it.
Bert.
And I think there's a disconnect there, because I see or I hear lyrics in songs like Generation Throwaway, and I roll my eyes when he's like, I have it right here, and we're only moments away. Brave enough to break these barricades. It starts today. were not generation throwaway. That is rough and kind of cringe, if I'm being honest. And then another one that stood out was Can a Song. Can you hear us now? Bet you can hear us now. Sing a song, change a world that doesn't care. Sing a song, stop the only ones who dare. Sing a song, see the ones who need it more. Sing a song, bring the soldiers back from war. We have the right to let our voices be heard. Just doesn't land the same today. Just really doesn't.
You know, Nathan, after that take, I'd call you a criminal if thinking was a crime. That lyric sucked. That piss. Every time I heard that, I was mad. I was like, "Shut up, dude! Like, you're not."
Yeah, I mean, Nathan, I agree with the Hope take, but I would also just say that a lot of these songs are very on the nose and very corny.
Sure.
On top of that, like superficially, like all we need is LOVE love.
Like, I hated that. I hated that one.
This is bad. It's bad.
That was my least favorite.
Yeah, regardless of the political climate, like that's just gonna be corny. It's not gonna hit. True. It's just a bad idea of a song. And then Overdose being 15 minutes long. Oh, are you kidding
Oh my God.
me?
And like half it's just quiet. And I get that it was like, to me, that was like an ode to the little quesadilla ending on, was that Lies for the Liars?
I think so. The kind of.
Oh, it's self-titled.
Was it the self-titled?
Is it?
Yeah, the very last song with the hidden song at the end.
Yeah. And you'd like wait forever to hear it, and it's just queso.
Yeah.
Quesadilla. It was queso. So fun. This was not fun.
No.
There's nothing fun about this. I just I was like, what the fuck? 15 minutes. And then I ended up skipping through it, and I was like, the payoff wasn't even good.
No, and like the lyric to that song is "Your love is my drug, I've overdosed," which is like it really put a bow on a truly abysmal lyrical performance throughout the entire album. Like that's the force without violence. It's time to replace these walls around our heart. Dude, come on!
It's like the end. It's like the end of Interstellar. It's love. It's love.
Oh my God!
Give me something. Give me something. It ain't this. Yeah. God dang, man.
Yeah. I thought Overdose would be a ballad about, overdose, but it's actually a love song. So I didn't know what to feel about that.
Crap. I thought there would be some emotion and like nuance to it. There ain't.
No, not anywhere on this album. That's the thing. There's no nuance anywhere. Like, that's the problem.
Oh, it's delivered to you on a silver platter. Like,
yes.
And then they spell it. And then they spoon.
And look, who's asking for this?
And then they spell it out for you.
They literally spell it out.
When Bert inevitably comes on this show, he's going to tell us, I was asking to be made fun of. You guys did the right thing.
He's going to be like me with screams. Be like, no, that was the worst. You're right.
And look, I can respect them wanting to do a more political approach. Like, I just think they don't do it very well. And Jeff, to your point about it being very on the nose, I think that works sometimes. Like, I think on the nose political stuff can really work. Look at Rage Against the Machine. Look at the scene version of that, Straight from the Path. Like, I think that works. And I think there's a place for that. I don't know if The Used is the place for that. And I don't know if they do it particularly well.
Exactly. Yeah. The Used has not ever been an on-the-nose band, lyrically especially. Like, at all. They were so not on the nose with their first few albums that, like, as soon as this shift happened, it was like, what is happening? Like, what happened? Like, he got hit in the head or something.
Yeah, I would say there's a common thread between most of the albums that we've talked about so far. And they are all very on the nose, with the exception of The Canyon. I wouldn't say that one's particularly on the nose lyrically. But Toxic Positivity, Meds, and Imaginary Enemy are all very, like, surface level lyrically, whether it's talking about surface level politics, love is the answer. Why don't we just love each other more? Have we thought of that? Or, I'm depression personified. I'm going to come for your eyelids. Like, it's all just very surface level and not really compelling in any sort of way.
Nathan, interesting point. The one song that works on this album, or at least I like Cry too, but the one really like pretty decent song, a song to Stifle Imperial Progression, that's on the nose too, but I think it works because there's actual energy in that song. You know, there's actually an emotional depth to it. It actually sounds like they care. And I wonder if that's part of it too.
Well, that song honestly feels a little more straight from the path if we want to talk about it with that explosive energy. It's like a punch to the face of like, hey.
No, it's like we're actually angry about this and here's why, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like there's something to that energy. And I think, you know, maybe it goes back to the whole optimism idea. That song doesn't feel particularly optimistic. Like that is like a, hey, we need to be upset about these things for a moment. And I think that's a lot closer to where we are societally right now. And so maybe that's why that song connects. I would also say that's not the only reason. I think instrumentally it is a lot more interesting than anything else going on this album. Like I love that juxtaposition between the heavy intro, the heavy verses, and the chorus, which is just so like bouncy and so fun. Like that song really comes together for me. And it's just that is a great The Used track on an album full of okay to not very good The Used songs.
Yeah,
they were okay.
They're fun. Like again, it's one of those things. I'm not terribly upset listening to it. Some of the lyrics make me roll my eyes, but instrumentally, it's fine as something to throw on in the background. But I mean, compared to their good albums, this doesn't even come close.
Right. Oh God, yeah.
The only song I'm ever coming back to is the song to Stifle. That's a certified ass shaker.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. It's so good. Okay, JT, you're number 6.
All right, this one I might get some flack for, but my number 6 is Artwork.
JT, come on.
Okay, so one of my tops is Lies for the Liars. I loved that record so much, and I loved the production. Like when it came out, I thought it was one of the at the time, for me personally, I thought this was one of the best like produced albums I'd ever heard. That was my top tier. And then they switched producers and put Artwork out, and it was such a shift that I think the shock made me like it. Like it gave me a bad taste in my mouth. But there's songs on there I haven't listened to it in forever. When I went back to it to listen to it again, there's like, oh, I actually know a lot of these songs, and I like a lot of these songs. Why did I think that I hated this record? Because I don't hate it, but I had a bad taste in my mouth.
I think the worst part about this album is where it sits in the discography.
Yeah, totally.
Compared to the albums that came before it, I think this is kind of a step down, but like looking at the album as a whole, it's pretty dang good. It's just relative, especially what came directly before it, like you're talking about with Lies for the Liars. This is
well, all 3 albums before it. Like
honestly, very true. This is not that. It has great moments. It doesn't come together as much as those other albums do for me.
Yeah, exactly. And like it's a scary thing to switch producers, especially one that like brought you up and really developed and made your sound with you, to go like you do hit a point where it's like, all right. And I think that's probably what happened. I think they did Lies for the Liars and they're like, okay, we've done what we can with this sound. Let's try something else. And it wasn't bad, but it wasn't what I loved about The Used. Like elements of what I loved about The Used are in it, but it wasn't what I loved about The Used.
100%. Kyle, I hear you chomping at the bit over there.
Yeah, I've got this in number 3. Jeff has it in number 4. I presume we'll have a similar take, knowing Jeff's taste in music, but I like this a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, Lies for Liars is phenomenal, and it's I guess I don't dox this for coming on the heels of that, because that album is something that I have never heard before and I'll never hear again. Like it's one of the most unique, almost overstimulating experiences you can go into. And so kind of like going back to Artwork, where they switch producers, and there's a lot of what I like, just like sort of the primal, the booming bass, the huge drums. It's just like it's big song after big song after big song with Blood on My Hands, Empty With You, Kissing You Goodbye, Soul My Soul. Like it's just kind of back to back to back of huge songs, which I think is probably the detriment of this album, is that all of these songs and all these choruses crescendo into this just giant experience with like I said, booming drums, huge bass, to the point where it can get a little bit samey at a certain point.
Yes. Yes.
Which again is my main gripe with it. I do think the good songs outweigh it, and I do think this kind of samey I am gonna be fine with 100% of the time in an album that's a normal kind of 40-minute runtime, 11 songs. I can deal with it. It ends with Men Are All the Same, which I think is a phenomenal closer.
Great
that
track.
builds into this enormous crescendo with kind of everything that makes this album something I enjoy, which is just good old fashioned rock and roll. Like, and I think Burt sounds awesome in it. I do think the production is really good, even though it is different than what they had done before. I think everything sounds clear, and like I said, sort of the rhythm section takes over a lot in this album, which I love. Which I really gravitated towards. So, as like I mentioned, it can get samey, but I'm fine with that with the sound and kind of how this feels.
Yeah, for sure. It is a much more like hard rock album than what they've done in the past, which always kind of had that dramatic edge. And I think Blood on My Hands to open this album is awesome. Like that song is so good. And I think that also almost hurts this album because Blood on My Hands to me is like arguably the ceiling for what this version of The Used can sound like. And it's right up front. And then everything after that feels like it's climbing to be on Blood on My Hands level. And none of it quite gets there. And
it's
I mean,
very front loaded.
It's very front loaded. I mean, even just that track alone would be enough to front load this album because that song is so good. It's so good. I love that bridge with the big hits. It's so cool. There are other good songs throughout this album. Born to Quit, that riff at the beginning is sick.
Yes.
Sold My Soul and Come Undone are also songs I enjoy. And Men Are All the Same is, like you said, a great closer. So like there are moments that are good, but it really really peaks early with Blood on My Hands for me.
Yeah. Empty With You and Kissing You Goodbye were also really pretty, like really good songs. Although all of them, well, let's look. Yeah, they're all in the front. It's like that's like the first half of the whole thing.
Yeah.
I like Meant to Die as well. I'll say it. I'll be brave.
I don't like that song.
Jeff, I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
I don't have too much more to add besides what you guys said. I think that this album maintains kind of the emotional weight and creativity, the pianos, some of the more theatrical elements that I think go missing in the album that comes after this, for example, at least for the most part. And I also feel like the vocal performance on this album as well is far more interesting, and I think still retains a little bit of that raspy emotional delivery that I think begins to wane as you get further into their discography. And so for those reasons, that's why I have it, closer to their best albums rather than further down the list, just because I think it touches some of those elements that make their first couple of albums so great a little bit before it starts to go away a lot. And so that's why I have it higher.
For sure. I will say, I think right down the middle of their discography, like ranking wise, is right where this should be because it has moments that are great. It has some that are pretty forgettable. It has elements from their great albums. There's maybe some growing pains sonically, just a little bit, starting to see some hints of it. It's like a perfect middle album for this band, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a great description. I think 6, 5, or 4 is perfect.
It's one that would be easy to look over in the scope of their discography. Not offensively bad, not phenomenal,
I wouldn't
right
say
in
it's
the
bad
middle.
at all. It's just not. Yeah,
No.
it's like just
I wouldn't
mid-tier.
either, to be clear.
Yeah, mid tier.
I mean,
It is
mid-tier for
mid-tier.
the used is like pretty fucking great.
That's the ceiling for a lot of bands, if we're being honest.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? This is going to be an insanely niche take, and I don't know if it's going to land for anyone here because it is a completely different band from a completely different genre. I think some of why this doesn't quite land for me is I've heard something very similar before. I grew up big on Sum 41, and a lot of Sum 41's later stuff, particularly Screaming Bloody Murder, draws heavy influence from this, and I can hear that very clearly in some moments on here. And there's a lot of songs on there. Like I think if we were to do a Sum 41 episode, which I would love to do, just throwing that out there.
Bro, Heaven and Hell was so good.
I would say Screaming Bloody Murder, for me is kind of a sleeper Sum 41 album that, a lot of people probably look over. But I mean, if you like this, it might be worth checking out. I don't know if it's as, objectively good as this is, but that's the thing about music. It's not all about the objective. Like I have so much nostalgia for Screaming Bloody Murder, and I heard it first, and so it like holds a special place in my heart. I think there's a connection between these two albums where it is a band that had a very specific sound and then started to do something a little different, and maybe has some growing pains, and maybe some of it doesn't quite work, but some of it really does. And so I think these are two very similar albums to me. And that is the end of my very niche comparison. So we can move on from there however we want.
Sweet.
Sounds like we don't want to move on. All that to say is, great podcasting, Nathan. That was really relevant to the discussion.
Hey, listen, you've been hit. You were batting 1,000 before that, so every great strikes out once or twice.
Hey, that's true. And I knew I was going to strike out. I went up there looking for a grand slam.
Yeah, now because of my comment, you better give me a favorable edit on this episode.
Never.
Not make me look like a donkey.
JT,
next up.
What you got up for us next?
So my number 5 is Heartwork.
Okay. You know what? I like that. I actually have that at number 4.
I've got it at number 6. So does Jeff. Jeff, you and me and you.
You guys are locked in.
We're like
you
twins.
guys are locked
actually
in right now.
Nathan, we're pretty locked in too.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Close.
We're going with the buddy system on this episode. JT, it's you and me. We're gonna defend each other. Jeff and Kyle, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
So and we will.
Heartwork was good. So this is what I was saying earlier. Like a lot of my middle, I kind of feel the same way about a lot of them. But this one was a little different because they took some genre risks, I felt.
Yes.
Like where it went more poppy and like
Yep.
I could tell they were having more fun with it, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't like the typical The Used that I normally listen to, but I still really enjoyed it, and I thought the songs were great. And I think it sucks that like when did this came out like right before I think the world shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. I was just looking at it. I think it was like April 2020.
That sucks.
Yeah,
I'm sure they like had to cancel a bunch of tours and like like I feel for them on that front because it is a good album. But there was not. I'm trying to think of. I'm just looking at the songs again. It's a long one actually. 16 tracks.
It really is.
Damn.
I would say it's pretty bloated.
But it's only 46 minutes long. That's wild.
Which is crazy. That's one song less than The Canyon, but like half the length.
Well, they have 2 like 1 minute songs on
That's true. There are a couple interludes.
Yeah. So it's like I appreciate what they were doing with it. I liked it, but it wasn't The Used that I know and love, and that's just I don't really have too much more to say about this one. It was good. But it wasn't like what I love about The Used typically. But I do appreciate them taking some chances by mixing some genres up.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I think the first half of the album is pretty strong. With Paradise Lost, I do enjoy Blow Me. I think
Yes,
I love that song.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
one's
song
good.
is so good.
Yeah.
here's gonna be a real hot take. Wow, I hate this song. I actually kind of
No.
enjoy that song.
No,
I
I
don't
know,
like
that
No.
would have been a hot take. I actually think that song is fine.
Kyle,
Gravity's
No, they
Rainbow
should've deleted
is Gravity's Rainbow is fine. Here's my gripe is that I don't really feel like any of the features added all that much.
Oh,
That's
exactly.
crazy.
Totally.
Outside of Blow Me-
100%.
No,
I was so
JT,
excited.
I thought we were on a team.
Hold on. I think Caleb Shomo does a good job, but I still don't think the
Yes.
lottery is that good of a song.
I
Yes.
love that song.
I do
Well,
too.
do you love the Lighthouse too? Imagine being Mark
No.
Hoppus
Yes.
and you like that song, bro. Imagine
I
being
like
Mark
it.
Hoppus and recording his part, and then like probably getting the finished version of the Lighthouse. I'm just dropping my laptop in the pool, and I'm never like answering anybody again. That song stinks.
The Lighthouse is a guilty pleasure dance pop song. That's what it is. It's a guilty pleasure.
I liked that one too. Like I just didn't. When I saw the record and I saw that there were all these like guest vocalists on it, I got really excited. And then I don't know, maybe I got too excited because it just kind of let me, like Caleb Shomo's one was the coolest one for sure.
I crushed it, but I didn't like the rest of the song.
Really?
Like I thought his feature was really good, but I did not really feel like it blended with the rest of the song.
Oh
like a
man, I
good
think the
song.
riffs in that song are so sick. The breakdown is so fun. And I think that song is such a great example of like a really good feature. Because you
Mhm.
kind of let Caleb Shomo eat on that. You let him do his sing thing, you let him do his screaming thing. You really get like you really utilize that guest vocalist. And I think it's just such a fun song. Like I love the chorus, everything about it just really works for me.
Fair.
Yeah.
How do you like the Lighthouse, Jeff? Jeff, how do you like the Lighthouse? And like, what's your argument between the Lighthouse and Wow, I hate this song? Both songs, I can see hating, and I know Wow, I hate this song is extremely cheesy. And
The Lighthouse doesn't annoy my eardrums like "Wow, I hate this song" does. That's
well put, masterfully
Wow, I
said.
hate this. It annoys me. And The Lighthouse, again, I don't think it's a great song objectively, but I did find myself putting it on here or there just to have it in the background. It's kind of a fun, I don't know, pop
That's
song.
fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Cathedral Bell, though, what a unique. That's probably
Phenomenal.
one of the coolest songs in their entire discography.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that one.
I'm glad to hear that because I really like that one too. I just that direction is so different from them and it just flows so well. It's such an earworm. And you know, you want to talk about very full production, like that song does it right. And I actually think that's right in the middle of or I guess it's not right in the middle. It kicks off a pretty good stretch of songs with that 1984 and Gravity's Rainbow. I think all three of those songs are really different, but really achieve what they set out to do well. 1984 is another kind of interesting one for the Used because it has that fake out drop. And I actually think it's so effective. And then when they actually do bring that riff in, like it has so much attitude. Like that is such a mean riff. And the pacing of it is so perfect. Like it's so good. And then Kyle, you mentioned Gravity's Rainbow. I mean, it's a more traditional The Used song. And it's good. They do it well. Like I think go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't really like 1984, but the moment had passed, so we can move on.
Fair enough.
Continue.
On.
That was poor podcasting, folks. You go ahead and continue.
I threw us all off with the Sum 41 comment. I'm so sorry. The best songs on this album are the ones that really succeed at modernizing the Used sound. It's the ones that kind of take those traditional elements, the ones that we're more familiar with, like the theatrical and dramatic instrumentation, and kind of bring that into an expanded version of the Used sounds, a more modern version of the Used sound. And it's those songs like Cathedral Bell in 1984 and I would even say The Lottery and Blow Me that kind of push that sound into a more aggressive direction than we've seen before. Like those two tracks, I would say, are more in line with kind of modern metalcore than a lot of their older, heavier tracks or more aggressive tracks. And so it's interesting to see them kind of explore that and bringing features in to kind of help along the way and explore those genres further. Like Jason Allen Butler on Blow Me is
sick.
awesome. It is so sick. And you want to talk about political music? There you go. That guy,
There you go.
he gets it. But like he really brings that song into its fullest potential, I think, with his screams in there. And like just all of these songs that find that balance of the new and the old and successfully bringing their old sound into a modern time and a modern alternative landscape. Those are the highlights on here. That also said, I think this is the most hit or miss album from The Used because
100%.
the highs are really high. The lows are really low. And Kyle, I'm not sorry. Wow, I hate this song. Yeah, I do too. It is so corny. Like
It is.
painfully eye roll inducing.
Yes,
La, la,
obviously.
la, make it stop. La,
Obviously.
La, la.
It's you just don't get it, dude. It's meta.
Sounds like he gets it.
I think I get it. And Kyle, you're really not gonna like this. This is the blueprint for the two albums that came after it. They wrote "Wow, I hate this song" and said, "What if we did that for 2 more albums?"
There we go.
There we go. We found it, guys.
Listen. You know what?
Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not really wrong. Listen, I said it's a guilty, like I'm somewhat ashamed. I would never tell my family about that, but like I also like FU. So, you know, it's a me problem. It's a me problem. All right. I think that's a nice, fun, catchy song. It's a fun song. Quit taking it so seriously. A fun song. Be positive. All right. God dang. Now
you're saying I need some toxic positivity.
Yeah, that was an alley-oop. All right.
Yeah, really good moments, really bad moments. Very bloated. This is 16 songs. There's a full album's worth of really good stuff on here.
Yeah, they could have left the others off.
And they could have left the others off. And then we'd have a really good The Used album in the year 2020. Like the good songs on here are exactly what I want from The Used in the 2020s.
Yeah.
And it's the same. They looked at the good songs on here and said, nah, no, thank you. I want to do more Big Wannabe. I want to do more Wow, I hate this song. I want to do more.
Have we talked about Big Wannabe? How are we not talking about Big Wannabe?
It's because it's
that song
mid.
Stinks.
That's horrible.
I would say that it's exactly what a lot of toxic positivity sounds like. It's fine. It's catchy, but it's also very corny.
Yeah, no, it's Five Finger Death Punch Disturbed coded.
Woof, that is rough.
Yeah.
late. It's what I call like uncle workout fodder. Where they're working on, they're like, I do want to be big. I want to, like, it's just not very good.
You know what is good is that description.
That's so
That's
good.
Perfect.
Oh man, Clean Cut Hills is another one where I'm just kind of like, woof. That's a swing and a miss for me. I can appreciate they're trying to do something different. They do different elsewhere on this album that works. Not everyone can bat 1,000, like we said.
I mean, I like Clean Cut Heels again for the dance pop guilty pleasure, but I agree. If you don't like it, then it's not good at all.
It's not. It's just not very. Bloody Nose is fine. I'm jumping around all over the place now, but like I like Bloody Nose. I think that's a good one. I also think Darkness Bleeds is pretty good. That one has kind of that techno drum thing that you were talking about earlier that you said you didn't like. I think that's an example of them doing it pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Any closing remarks on Heartwork?
Hit or miss and bloated are the two best descriptions for this album, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
And I would just like to point out, like, using classic book titles as song names is pretty cool. I'll just leave it at that.
I agree.
That is cool. I like that. Does anyone else have moral opposition to having an album called Artwork and then another album called Heartwork. Those are too similar to me.
Well, it's a callback,
Is it?
right?
Yeah,
dude.
I heard, like, I feel like that is a callback for sure. And then I also like heard that like Heartwork was like a play on hard work something.
Okay.
Which is like, that's neat.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't hate it.
I still don't like
I
it.
definitely think it's a callback.
Yeah, I think it's a callback too. I was confused. I thought it was like another B-side situation, but then I
Exactly.
realized it wasn't.
It's like on the verge of being confusing.
Yeah,
which I don't really like.
I mean, I was confused. It got me.
And okay, you know what? If it is a callback, this sounds nothing like Artwork.
No.
In reality, it sounds more in line with the albums that came before Artwork. So are they saying like, hey, if we got to redo it Artwork, maybe it would sound like this?
It does seem like a pretty pointless, like, what are you doing callback? But
It's kind of an in name only callback, if we're being honest.
I don't know. I thought
that's true.
I thought it was almost like for some parts of the record, it was like what John Feldman's version of Artwork would have been.
I can like that. I can like that theory. Now, Bert's, when he inevitably comes on this podcast, like we were talking about, he's going to say, look, here's actually why it's called Heartwork, and y'all are all idiots for not picking up on this.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
I am also very excited for that thing that is definitely going to happen. All right, we've been talking about this album. It's pretty good.
Long.
I think it's worth checking out if you like the used and haven't ventured into any of their modern stuff, but do not go past it. Do not get any more recent than this.
It's their best post 2020 album for sure.
100%.
Oh,
yes.
definitely.
Real hot take there.
All right, top 4. This is where things are going to get a little interesting. Kyle, you got your 7 open, and I think we might share a 7-6 moment.
I think we will.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah. Well, my next one is Vulnerable. That's my number 4.
Ooh, I'm not gonna lie, JT, we're starting to venture apart. And Kyle, I was wrong. We're not sharing a 7-6 moment.
What?
I like this album. I like this album a lot.
Number 2 for you, Nathan?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I'm gonna push back so unbelievably hard on that. As good as this record is, with what's
Let
remaining,
me have it.
With what's remaining, I don't even know.
Wow.
I'm like baffled right now.
I had to be true to myself and true to how I feel about this album.
I
like it.
This was a really good album. The only reason it's number 4 is because of the other 3.
And that's fair. That is very fair.
I can't imagine putting any other 3 records from the used at the top. But I really want to know why is this your number 2? Like it is really good. I loved it because after Artwork, they went back to John Feldman and they brought that sound back, and that got me so fucking pumped to hear it. So it was a very like a context thing. And then I loved like what just thematically and lyrically and just everything, all of those things that I loved about the Used that I felt kind of were lacking in Artwork were back, and I was so excited about it. But like, why is this your number 2?
So we're very much on the same page there, and I think that definitely plays into why I like this album a lot. To me, this feels like the album that should have been the follow-up to Lies for the Liars.
100%.
We are through the growing pains of trying to find a more hard rock adjacent sound, but we're also utilizing all of the elements that make our sound awesome. And this album is just so fresh. There's things all throughout it that are new to the band. There's more emphasis on electronic elements.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I Come Alive is
so good.
awesome. That song is
Yeah.
phenomenal. And I mean, really,
Yeah.
if you look at the Used discography, I mean, these first 5.
This is also front loaded. They're all really good, but like still front loaded.
I would agree with that to a certain extent. I do think the best songs are on the front, but the front half of this is insanely strong. What I was going to say is the first 5 albums in this discography have insane opening tracks. And I think this is one of my personal favorites. Like you get that moment in the second verse where it just takes a complete detour into a full-on electronic portion.
So cool.
It's so sick.
It's so
like
cool.
that is awesome. And that is one of my favorite moments in this discography, I think. And just like the chorus of that song with the A and B sections and the way they play off of each other. I mean, that song, it's perfect to me. I love that song. And really, when I'm looking at the first 7 tracks of this album,
yeah,
I would say it's arguably one of the strongest runs in their discography. This Fire like really leans into that dramatic edge that the Used is so known for, and like that I love so much about the Used. Hands and Faces then continues to explore those electronic sounds again, and I wouldn't say that's like a quintessential The Used track, but it is really interesting, especially the way it changes up in the second half. Put Me Out is very like Blood on My Hands adjacent, where they're doing a much more straight ahead hard rock thing. And I would think they're doing it, I would say they're doing it on the same level as Blood on My Hands. Like I think Put Me Out is awesome. Shine, I'm just gonna skip over Shine. We don't need to talk about it. It's
Good
fine.
call.
It's fine. It's enjoyable, but it's easily the weakest of this run of 7.
Hands and Faces.
Now That You're Dead.
Okay, Jeff.
Now That You're Dead that's a terrible take, Jeff.
Now That You're Dead is awesome.
That's a great song. That's such a cool song.
And now, Jeff, I know what your gripe is going to be. You don't like the lyrics of Now That
the
You're
lyrical. It's so cringe. Like I don't know how you could get through it listening to that.
And I think you're right to an extent. I think the lyrics are questionable, but the instrumentation is explosive. And for me, it's enough to redeem the song. And it's so fun. And the last of these 7, Give Me Love, is one of my favorite songs on this whole album, because that dance beat in the chorus it just has so much movement. It's so fun. I love that song so much. It's so catchy and it's always on repeat for me.
I don't agree, but that's all right.
You don't like Give Me Love?
Not really.
It's so fun. And so like that run of 7 really does kind of carry this album. I don't dislike the back half. I think it is a little bit weaker. But I think there's still enjoyable stuff there. Like I still like all of these songs, just not as much as I love the front half. That said, Kiss It Goodbye is also a great track.
Yeah, second that.
I really do love this album. I think there's so many memorable songs, so much interesting instrumentation, so many fun things happening, so much exploration of the Used sound that make it such a perfect follow-up to an album like Lies for the Liars. And I do think contextually getting this after an album that doesn't quite land for me, like Artwork doesn't, going back to everything I love about the Used, that might boost it up a little bit. So, man, yeah, I know putting this at number 2 is definitely going to turn some heads, but gosh, I spin this album regularly. I think it's so good. So that's my monologue.
Yeah, I like a couple tracks on here. I think I Come Alive is really good. I think Put Me Out is interesting, and I do really enjoy Now That You're Dead. Now That You're Dead, it's curveball after curveball. It's such an unpredictable song, and I think that element of unpredictability is really cool. I think, to be completely honest, the rest of the album doesn't stand out quite as much to me. I don't like Shine. I don't like sort of the dubstep elements that they implemented into this album. It kind of turned me off pretty quick when it was introduced, like Hands and Faces. Like I don't really enjoy that track. I don't know, man. Nothing really stood out outside of I Come Alive, Put Me Out, and Now That You're Dead, which is why it kind of slots in just kind of right in the middle of my ranking. Is that like I enjoy it, but nothing really stands out. I didn't think the lyrical performance was anything particularly amazing. I thought the songwriting was interesting, but it didn't catch me outside of those 3 songs that I mentioned.
You know, that's fair. It sounds like you feel about this album the way I feel about Artwork.
Yeah,
Opens up real strong, and
Yeah.
then everything after that is kind of
tapers
chasing
off.
that dragon.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how. Yep. I feel the same way for sure. I will agree though. I Come Alive is a great song. Wouldn't be surprised if it ended up on the top 10 for sure.
Oh, it will.
Yeah. But for me, I don't like Now That You're Dead. And I think it's just the lyrics I just can't get past them. And then the second half of this album, it really does fall off in my opinion. Like Hurt No One, I don't have any notes on it. I don't know what happens in that song, to be honest. Getting Over You with the stomp, stomp, clap instrumentation, I don't find that very appealing at all. Goodbye is pretty good. Moving On, I don't know, passable radio rock in my opinion. I don't know. Compared to the first couple of songs, I think this album really takes a nosedive, and that's why I have it below Artwork, which I feel like is a slightly more consistent album. Although I will say I feel like the instrumentation and kind of the use of the creepy piano and stuff in this album is more interesting than in Artwork, where you really don't find that as much.
Yeah, that's classically used.
So it's good to see them come back, but
I think that's pretty much it. I'm honestly my head's already on the next 3 because I'm still struggling with some placements.
Yeah, Nathan, you having a 6 spot open is bonkers.
yeah, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I don't even.
Kyle, you have a 5 spot open.
I did notice that right when you said it.
So I wouldn't be throwing stones right now, buddy.
Well, I love the top 5 albums, and I've already vouched for 4 and 3. So
That's true. I already kind of slandered Artwork a little bit, and that's my 5. So I am more in trouble than you are.
all right.
Fine, I'm in trouble. Fine, gosh, I'll be vulnerable. I'll talk about it.
Let's dig into it, folks.
Let's
All
dig
right,
in.
top 3 or 6, depending on who you ask.
Oh man. Okay. So shit. I'm struggling with which one's gonna be on number 3, but I have my reasons. So I would put all of these at number 1 if I could, if I'm being real.
Pop out.
You
No,
can't.
I can't, which is why I'm gonna tell you my number 3, and it's In Love and Death.
Ooh.
Hey, we just had a lot of slander, and JT, you and I are right back.
Yeah. I love this record. Like, again, banger of an opener. Take it away.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's their strongest open.
and then dude, I Caught Fire, Let It Bleed, All That I Got. Like, listening was one of my favorite songs ever. Back
So
in the day.
good.
Like, so good. And then Yesterday's Feelings is like, that chorus is so catchy. Like, there's so much to love on this record. And it's so unique. And it's very like the first 2 albums were so unique, and you never really heard a band like that before, and you haven't really heard anything like that since. Like maybe Get Scared tried to do it a little bit. I love Get Scared, but they just felt like a version of the Used that wasn't the Used.
For sure.
But man, I was really struggling at putting this at number 3. Let's just say that.
Dude, Yesterday's Feelings
Ugh.
is so good. Like, that is one of my favorite ballads from the Used, because it has that like 3/4 time signature, gives it a nice sway, gives it a nice waltz, if you will, and it feels so romantic. And then the 1-2 punch of that and Light with a Sharpened Edge is so good, and the way those 2 songs play off of each other is absolutely insane. Like, that's one of my favorite moments on the whole album, is those 2 songs back to back. Well, and then sound effects and over dramatics right after it too is crazy. So I keep looking at the track list and I'm like, oh, then there's Lunacy Fringe, and that's also excellent. So this album is so good, it's ridiculous.
I'm a Fake's great. The Under Pressure cover with Gerard Way is on the end. Like, dude, Dude,
It's nuts.
to me, all three of these records are unskippables. Like, there's not a track that I would skip on them, and I never have, I don't think. That's why I'm so blown away that there's a 5 and 6, or not a 5 open anymore, but a 6 slot open.
Well,
For these
let me
other
say
records.
something. Let me say something that's going to give it away.
Yeah,
Kyle, go
Let's hear
ahead.
it.
I've been yapping, Kyle. Please.
that's all right. I do really love this album. The 5 spot doesn't do it justice, and I'm having a little bit of regret, but that's all right. We'll continue with the path because there genuinely might not be a skip on this album, which sort of contradicts what I said about the Canyon artwork. But yeah, this is a master album. I guess one of the reasons I'm high on the Canyon artwork right now because I hadn't listened to those really as deeply before this. In Love and Death is a record I have spun so many times and listened to so many times that I think I have really no excuse. This album is phenomenal, and I'm kind of embarrassed, but that's okay.
You could say there's a real canyon of quality right in the middle of your list.
No, there's
Real
not.
high.
I mean, I love the Canyon. I love artwork as well. Do not get me wrong. I do truly love those albums. But this is like a album that means something to me, like emotionally. Kind of slipped through the cracks. Honestly, might switch some things around at some point. But yeah, there's very few skips, if any, on here. In the bonus track, Under Pressure. Not the best version of the song, still a great version of the song. A little flabbergasted right now. Don't worry about it. This is a great album. My top 5 albums I love a lot. And I feel comfortable and safe saying that. Jeff, this is your number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great album. It's consistently great at what it tries to do, whether it's kind of the attitude riffs and the cleans and cut up angels, whether it's the heaviness of sound effects and over dramatics, the acoustics and the atmosphere synths of Lunacy Fringe. Yesterday's Feelings, like Nathan said, the ballad. I mean, I feel like everything that they try to do on this album, they really knock it out of the park. And in my opinion, there is no skip on this album, which is why I have it at number 2. I think it's consistently enjoyable. I'm a Fake is such a cool song, so really cool. Energetic. I really like the creepy kind of distorted voice that comes after the chorus in that one. So I think everything they try to do here works. And the only reason I don't have it at number 1 is just because I don't think it has the absolute peak that the number 1 album has. But other than that, it definitely would be their best album.
Valid. Can I say something? And it's gonna reveal my number 6. This album is pretty clearly an elevation of everything that made their debut good. And it really takes those elements and molds them into something really fantastic. And Jeff, everything you said, I would echo. Like, this album is so dynamic. It does a little bit of everything that like is lovable about this band and does it so well. And I think there's some very clear songwriting steps taken on this album that kind of elevated above their debut. And I say that as someone who was not around for the Used debut, like contextually wasn't a part of alternative music at that point. So I know I lack that. And like I said earlier, it's not all about the objective. Music is very personal, and I just don't have the personal connection to that album. And I'm already defending myself because I know I'm going to have to. I'm setting the table for my defense.
Like JT said, there's an emotional rawness in that Livewire sound on the first album that I don't think they recapture ever in their entire discography.
Yeah.
And I think most people would agree with you. But all that is to say, I think this album is phenomenal and a step up from their debut in all the right ways. It's so good, man.
Yeah.
So that said, we got 2 albums left. JT, where are you taking us?
Again, this is just tough. I think Lies for the Liars is my number 2.
Ooh, the man. 3 number ones. Nathan's number 6.
What?
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. Ouch. Oof. Ouchie.
JT has it at 2. Jeff has it at 3. I have it at 2. Nathan has it at 1.
So
Interesting.
yeah, this was tough. This was almost the number one because, like I said earlier, this album when it came out was, in my eyes, peak production value, and the songs were so theatric and so dark. Like the first time I heard the Bird and the Worm, I was like, what is this? How I didn't know you were allowed to do this kind of thing. Like it was, and I feel like that song specifically inspired so much of like the Famous Last Words sound too.
That makes a lot of sense.
Those cellos and just like the big choir and that massive chorus that is just so catchy. The music video is sick. And let's also I also want to note that these first 3 albums, the art, like the cover artwork is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like that little, I forget what the
album.
guy's name is, the box head guy, but he has a name and he's iconic as shit. And so is the little hanging heart in Love and Death. Iconic. Like people drew that all the time. Like it was, the branding was like so on point. Like the first time I heard Pretty Handsome Awkward and like Transformers, I couldn't believe it. I was like, no way can you get a song like that into a movie like this. But they did it. And I was so pumped for them just because of that. The different directions they went in a lot of these songs was just so fun and new. And it was a big shift from the first 2 records, but they did it so expertly. And they did it, and I'm sure John Feldman had a lot to do with this, but man, I was so impressed, and I've probably listened to this one more times than I've listened to any of the other records. But yeah, so this one was a fight for the number 1 spot for sure.
This is, and I mentioned it earlier, one of the most unique listening experiences I've ever gotten to partake in, to the point where it's almost overstimulating, where you start with the Ripper, Pretty Handsome Awkward, The Bird and the Worm, Earthquake, Hospital, and Paralyzed.
Insane.
I mean, it turns my brain into sludge in the best way possible. And that you don't know what's coming next. It feels like my brain is bouncing around my skull. And I truly don't know if there's another album that's this good, that's this weird, and that's this creative.
Dude, totally.
Oh yeah.
Smother Me, when that's the one where with that, like, I always thought it was like this big soulful like lady who would come in and sing, yeah, you know, like whatever that was. And it was like, Bert. It's like, oh my God, like where did that even come from? And it worked so well.
It's fascinating, and it's no one's been able to replicate this, to the point where no one's even tried to replicate this.
Exactly.
It's such a one-off album in the genre and in the time period. It's surprising hearing an album where you're like, I've never heard anything like this. I've never heard a knockoff of this. I've never heard where this came from. Like, this is just, it is what it is. And it's amazing, but it's like, no one's even attempted to recreate it because it's so, it is what it is, man. It's so fascinating. This was my introduction to The Used as well. So you can imagine, Nathan, I think you showed this to me in middle school.
Yeah, so this was my introduction to The Used, which talking about bias and all that, I have this album always holds a special place in my heart.
So like hitting Lies for the Liars, and then being like, what else do they do? And listening to In Love and Death and be like, huh? Like, these are 2 spectacular albums that, I mean, that's just, there's very little to bridge the gap there.
Well, Kyle, I mean, it speaks volumes to your point. The Used didn't even try to recreate this album at any point.
Right.
They're like, yep, nope, that is, we did that and we did it perfectly. Let's just leave that, let a sleeping dog lie and move on.
Yeah, I mean, it's It's so interesting.
Let a
But yeah.
sleeping dog lies for the liars.
Huh.
Sorry, I thought of that after I said that.
After you said
four,
So,
3
like-
out of 10.
So this is like the thing when you have an album like this and then you have an album like Meds and Toxic Positivity, it's like,
Yeah.
what? Wait,
Yeah.
what? What happened?
Exactly.
So
An album.
the reason
this
I was dogging so
creative-
hard, the reason I've been dogging so hard on some of the other ones, it's not even that they're like terrible. It's like they're just not this good.
No.
They're just not, and they're not even close. I mean, that one, Meds is not great, but like that's the bottom one. So this is just unskippable also, and this is one of those like perfect records that there's a few records that I would consider just absolutely perfect records, and this is definitely one of them.
Oh, 100%. There are no skips on here at all. Like, and it's such, Kyle, we've been talking about it. It's such a departure in sound for them, and it's such an outlier in their entire discography. Like, outliers for the liars.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. They had the cinematic elements in their sound. They had that flair for the dramatic before this. But they took all of those ideas and said, what if we did that for a whole album and really leaned into it, put it front and center and went all out? And I love it for that reason. I mean, I am a sucker for a theatrical, a cinematic alternative emo or metalcore band. Like that sound just speaks to me, whether it's this Famous Last Words, The Gloom in the Corner, like that is always the stuff that I love the most. And so, of course, it's the Used album that really leans into that sound that is my favorite. Like, I mean, the lead single on this album was The Bird and the Worm.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is a crazy lead single. And it speaks volumes to how crazy this album is. Like, what a big swing. And it feels like every big swing they take on here is a home run. There's
Every
the
single
heavier
one.
tracks. The Ripper is nuts.
Yeah.
Like that song is crazy. Pretty Handsome Awkward has so much attitude. It's so catchy.
Dude, that riff, that opening riff,
It's so sick.
so
It is so sick. And it's like, it's one of the
Iconic.
perfect examples of like, it's a simple riff, but the way we build on it throughout the song and add in all these other elements that riff sets the table for the song in such a perfect way.
yeah.
The Bird and the Worm is nuts. We talked about it. Hospital, that absolutely unhinged part coming out of the second chorus with the bass line going absolutely crazy, and he's saying, "Can you look me in the face?" Like that section of the song is awesome. And then you get Paralyzed, which has the big horns section. Wake the Dead, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Liar, Liar. Like every single song on here is just the band firing on all cylinders creatively and as songwriters. Like every song has an instantly memorable moment and is honestly filled to the brim with really interesting and unique ideas in the production and the vocals and the instrumentation. Like it's all so fresh and unpredictable that it adds so much replayability. And there are moments on here where I'm like, how did you think to do that? And it
Right.
feels like every song is like that. It's like, how did you think to do that? Like, how did you think to distort the electronic part in Liar to Liar or Liar Liar to where it sounds like it's all clipping and distorted and crazy? And then also have a song like Earthquake and Smother Me. Like, it feels like they explored every creative direction they could have gone and explored it to the fullest that they could have. And it's so satisfying. And I could go on and on about everything I love
Same.
about this album. Like it is just mind-blowingly good, especially considering that it really came out of nowhere sonically in their discography.
Not only
Yeah.
in their discography, but like in music.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing like this that exists. That's why it's so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a brilliant album that is so out there but executed perfectly.
One thing we haven't really said about it is the electronic elements aside of the cinematic stuff. is so well done and unique to this record. I haven't heard anyone really go about it that way since. Like there's a lot of like these record skip kind of sounds and things like
Yeah.
that. And they just you hear a lot of like electronic elements in a lot of these songs, and this record they did it different. And it's hard to even pinpoint what exactly they did. But I think the one that stands out is like the in Wake the Dead, right at the end, where his vocal kind of chops and repeats there. It's just so fucking sick.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I mean, like, even, take a step back from all these crazy ideas they're throwing in there. None of that really works if the songs themselves aren't insanely catchy or just like really well written structurally. Like Pretty Handsome Awkward is catchy. Hospital and Paralyzed are catchy. Like it's just from
They're all catchy.
They laid the foundation so well. Like these songs, if you strip everything back, still work. But it's the fact that you can take that foundation and build on it in such unique and unexpected ways, in ways that, like we've been saying, we've never heard before or since. Like it makes this album stand out so much. And I love this album. This is probably one of my favorite albums of all time.
They built their own world with this one.
They did. They really did. Well, guys, we're to a staple moment of our show, and it is the one where everyone has the same number one except for me, and it's way lower on my list.
I gotta say that bums me out.
A not infrequent occurrence. So JT, take us there. What's your number one?
It is their self-title, The Used.
So here I am, it's in my hand, and I'll savor every moment of this. So here I am.
And I will tell you why I put this one as number one, and it is solely because of the opening track.
Really?
How that song starts when it kicks in blew my mind when I heard it the first time. How heavy that was when he comes in with, as we trudge along through the mud. I was like, what is this? Because before that, what is this, 2002? I was listening to pop punk, and I was just started listening to like My Chem. My Chem doesn't get that heavy. I heard that, I was like, whoa. And then immediately after that, Taste of Ink. And then you have, a box full of Sharp Objects. Like there's so many good songs on this that I think set the stage for me in my like heavy music journey that I couldn't not put it as the number one.
And that's fair. I can't argue with that. And I'm not here to rain on anyone's parade, so I'm going to let Jeff and Kyle take this.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say, I think this is a classic album, absolutely classic. There's so many perfect or close to perfect songs on here. His delivery with the aggressive scream singing that he does, I think is super cool. And just that made me fall in love with the album. It is his delivery on here that I don't think he does elsewhere in the discography. It's really that kind of emo, screamo, classic, raw delivery that, like I said, the live wire sound of the early 2000s that really defined the genre. I still think because of that unique sound that it offers, that this album holds up really well today. And I don't think that it's aged. I think it sounds really, really good. And I think even the slower ballads on this album bring some forms of energy and creativity. I don't think there's a single skip on here. I think it's an absolute classic.
Second, all of that.
Yeah, I agree with that, Jeff. It's the granddad, like a true granddaddy of post-hardcore, and the best age of post-hardcore, or one of the best ages of post-hardcore was just that decade, the 2000s. And like you said, it doesn't feel like it aged, which is always kind of the problem with the first album. Is it's not as well produced, the vocals aren't as polished, and that is true for this album, but it works, and the songs are written so well, and it's so strong. I'm gravitating towards songs like Bulimic, where there's that
Yes.
manic delivery over the simple drum and riff into that huge "Goodbye to You" chorus. It's so
Oh.
cool. Like that song is so
good.
cool. And I mean, there's no skips on this album. I think Bert's delivery is unbelievable. And yeah, if there's a genre of kind of metal, punk, post-hardcore bands on their first album where it's mildly unpolished but so powerful and youthful and adventurous, sign me up, because this is the granddaddy of that genre.
Definitely the unpolished vocals adds a lot to the emotional rawness and that raspiness. I think if it was any more polished, I think it would actually take away from this project.
Yeah. I think it'd take
Totally.
away from the charm.
Yeah, and the closer piece is one of the most unique closing tracks I've ever heard, at least on the pod. Because the first 3-minute song is really good. And then you have that break, and then you have the happy birthday. And then it goes into the last 2 minutes of super aggressive screaming. I love it. I loved every second of that song.
Yeah.
I think with the silence in between the regular song and the hidden song actually add a lot to it.
That was so cool. Like, and it was such a weird little secret thing that you just don't really get that anymore. It's hard with
No.
streaming. You know, it's way different. And I totally agree with what you guys are saying about the not as polished vocals. So this is the kind of not polished vocals that I love, as opposed to like with the Canyon. That kind of unpolished vocal I don't love as much. This like hit so hard for me. And that screaming, going back into to Maybe Memories, like he starts with that scream, but how he shifts into the singing portion of that
Yes.
right away, that was it. Like that's exactly what I was talking about too. It was so cool, and it's like such a hard thing to do, and it's just, I was so impressed. Also, On My Own, oh my god, he screams in that song, in such a soft song, and he just lets out this painful scream. Like I felt his pain so deeply in that song. So
Yeah.
good.
There's a sense of urgency in this album, because they were damn near homeless when they were recording this album. A box full of sharp objects is what got them signed ultimately to a record company. But like they were making demos in one of the band members' like closets in their apartment. It was gritty. It was emotional. It was, you can tell that they're playing as if their life depends on it. And you can really feel that. You can really feel the urgency, the emotion. Which is again one of the reasons I like it. There's a twinge of desperation that you can't really put your finger on, but you notice, and it makes it heavier and powerful.
You can't fake it.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. That's perfect. You can't fake it.
There's a reason why songs from this album are still at the top of their Spotify page. Even as someone who doesn't really personally connect with this album, it is very easy to see why so many people do and why this was such an influential album. Because I would say this is a cut above a lot of other albums that were out around this time, as far as like aggressive and energetic go. Like it's easy to see why this really set the table for the 2000s and even the 2010s. Like it's easy to see why The Used became what The Used became following this album, and none of that would have been possible without this album.
Yeah, and people like to put this up against or compare it to Three Cheers. I think this album
they're very
is
different.
They're very different, but
Yeah.
it's kind of what kind of started the rivalry, so to speak, between The Used and MCR. And I think this album I gravitate towards this one personally, but that's just me.
Is it? Because they ended up doing the collaboration on the next record. I don't think this.
They did.
necessarily-
It did, but I'm pretty sure "Pretty Handsome Awkward" is like a diss track on Gerard Way.
Oh, I've heard mixed things about that. Whether that's
I thought
true.
Oh,
Burt,
really?
I thought Burt McCracken like confirmed that.
I don't know. I've heard both. Yay and nay.
Interesting. I've
Yeah.
never heard that. Like that said, I haven't dug into the lore of the relationship between the bands too much, but I do know they have a little thing. I wouldn't say beef, but like
They did have some beef for a while.
Yeah.
So it's totally
a
possible.
strained relationship for sure.
Regardless,
Isn't it in Take It Away where he says, like, I lost all hope for a chemical romance or something along those lines?
Yes.
Makes you wonder.
yeah, but then they have a collab on that same album for Take It Away, so I'm not sure.
That
I
is
don't know.
true.
Who knows?
Yeah, I always took that as like a buddy, like a
Yeah.
like a little call out.
A
in a
little
good way, though.
shout.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
shout out.
Interesting. Yeah, again, like I said, haven't really dug into the lore. I'm just speculating and spitballing at this moment.
But regardless, the self-titled used album is one of the best albums. Is one of my favorite albums I've ever listened to. I thought this was going to be a hot take, putting this at number one. I'm not going to lie. In this environment, in this climate, I thought I'd have stones thrown at me.
No, but number 6 is a hot take. That's for sure.
That is a hot take.
Look, I know. I'm such a production nut that I'm like, I do like albums that are raw. This one just didn't particularly gel with me. And then the used does insane production so well that I'm like, yeah, of course I'm going to gravitate to those albums a little more. But look, I respect it. I respect the album. I understand why people like it. It's okay.
There's some cool production on this album, though.
I thought I was going to have at least one friend putting Lies for the Liars at number one, but
I was almost there with you, man. But
and
so was
JT, I'm
Kyle.
not going to lie, I thought it was going to be you, but that's okay. It's okay. Kyle, I thought there was a good chance you would, actually, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
But
no, you would have hoped, and
I would have hoped.
I did put In Love and Death at 5, which
It's
it's staying. It's staying. I know.
I
It's
can't
staying.
I can't believe in this world that you think The Canyon's better than In Love and Death. To each their own. To each their own.
yeah,
Sure.
Kyle, that's crazy. That's crazy. You're crazy.
I know it's
Get the heat off
something
me.
where no, if I looked at that, I'd be like, well, that's an idiot. And I'm chalking it up to slightly poor planning and realizing but hey, I'm fine with it. I love the top 5 albums, so we'll rock with it. That's all I got.
Yeah. So JT, to close this thing out, can you read through your list from least favorite to your favorite?
Yeah. All right. So starting at the bottom, it's The Canyon, then Meds, then Toxic Positivity, then Imaginary Enemy, then Artwork, then Heartwork, then Vulnerable, then In Love and Death, Lies for the Liars, and then The Used tops it off.
Brilliant. Well, guys, we got one more thing before we close this out. And like I mentioned earlier, we'd hear from our patrons at the end of this episode. On the second tier of our Patreon page, you have the opportunity to send me your list ahead of time so we can react to it here at the end of the episode. And so, first up, we got Derek. Like I said earlier, he had a question. Long time patron. Here is his list for the used.
My rankings from worst to best: Imaginary Enemy, Toxic Positivity, The Canyon, Heartwork, Vulnerable, Artwork, Lies for the Liars, In Love and Death, and Self-Titled.
That sounds like another self-titled at number one.
Very decent
He
list.
didn't rank Meds.
Look, I'm not going to put that past him.
He
We
just
all know
left it
where it
off
goes.
completely.
He didn't include Meds. I was worried. The further it got, I was like, God, Derek, what the hell? bro?"
That's so
God.
funny.
Dude,
Derek, no.
if we could erase Meds from the used canon, I would be fine with that. I would motion for that to happen.
The one and only seaside in existence. Didn't even know that was
The
allowed.
Canyon.
Nice.
Ah.
There we go. Now we're talking.
There it
Back.
is.
I was gonna say
We're back.
the used has 2 albums that have never been done before. Lies for the Liars and Meds, but 2 completely different reasons for why they've never been done before. One of them is full on seasides.
Seaside.
This next one is from Lucas, and this is his list.
Hello. In last place, I have Meds. In 9th, I have Imaginary Enemy. In 8th, I have In Love and Death. In 7th, I have Toxic Positivity. In sixth, I have the canyon. In fifth, I have the artwork. In fourth, I have heartwork. In third, I have vulnerable. In second, I have the used. And in first, I have lies for the liars. All right. Thank you.
Well, I got a lies for the liars, buddy.
Yeah. Solid list.
Toxic positivity over in love and death. Are you freaking joking, dude?
Yeah.
Did I hear that
finally-
right? Did he say that?
You did. You did. I got my lies for the liars, buddy, but it's in the same list as in love and death at like 7 or 8 under toxic positivity.
Yeah, that's the word. I mean, that was bad. The rest of it was good.
That is not a good look for me, unfortunately.
No, that's not a good look for that. That's the craziest
Lucas.
take I've ever heard. Like, that's worse than saying Bleach is better than Nevermind. Like,
Wow.
what are we talking about?
Tie it all together.
I love a full circle moment.
That was beautiful. That is so crazy. I will say I'm also noticing another trend where artwork and heartwork are almost always next to each other, which leads to people saying artwork and then really emphasizing the artwork. So I'll be interested to see if that continues. And we'll see right now with this next list from Nathaniel. His list is as follows.
Here's my rankings starting in last place. Artwork, 9 imaginary enemy, 8 vulnerable, 7 the canyon, 6 toxic positivity, 5 meds, 4 heartwork, 3 in love and death, 2 lies for the liars, and my favorite album is The Used. Peace out.
Another
I heard
point.
5
meds.
I was done.
Meds was really high.
I was done.
I mean, he obviously
Yeah.
paired toxic positivity and meds together, but at 5 and 6?
Yeah, it's like we got them together, but at what cost?
At what cost?
It's what's funny. You know what's funny to think about is that they're going to be like, and I love their support. They rule. I love hearing each list at the end of each episode. But you got to think that they're listening to the beginning of the episode and being like, "Don't read my list. Don't read my list. Don't read my. I put meds at 5.
I'm
Fuck.
gonna be
Don't
so
read my-"
embarrassed.
Like they're just stressed out listening to this entire episode.
They just turn it
because
off.
They know. Yeah.
Yeah. Oof. Well, yeah, that's not a great look. And like Kyle said, to our patrons, we all obviously appreciate your support. Don't let us roasting you deter you. Low-key, I think people like getting roasted a little bit. I see that a lot on YouTube. It's like I roast my followers letterbox or whatever. I think people like it. And they haven't stopped supporting us yet. So we'll keep going. This last one is from Seth. And let's see where he puts meds.
My ranking for the used discography at number 10, Toxic Positivity. Number 9, Meds. Number 8, The Canyon. 7, Vulnerable. 6, Artwork. 5, Imaginary Enemies. Number 4, Heartwork. Number 3, In Love and Death. At 2, they're self-titled. And at number 1, Lies for the Liar.
Come on. Yes, that's another
That was a
point for
great
me.
list.
That was a good
That's a
list.
good
That was a
list.
solid
Really good
list.
That was a good list. Hey, Seth, good work, big dog.
Yeah,
Seth-
that was a good list.
Patron of the month. Patron of the month, Seth.
Yeah. His middle was like mine flipped a little bit, but like
Mhm.
like I said before, dude, the middle ones are all they're all good. They just weren't
Yeah.
like to me weren't like crazy like the top 3.
Mhm. I feel like
Yeah, they're interchangeable in
Jeff,
a lot of ways.
you have this too. I feel like Jeff and Seth kind of nailed like what I would probably consider to be like the used fandom consensus top 3. I guess JT, you had it as well. Lies for the Liars, The Used, and
Yeah.
In Love and Death. Like I feel like those 3 albums people generally have as their top 3. Unless you're crazy and putting The Used at 6 or something like that. I would do that.
I'm so mad about that.
Or In Love and Death at 5. Just throwing that out there.
I'm mad at both.
Well, thank you so much to our patrons for their ongoing support of this show on both tiers. That really does mean the world to us. Don't let us roasting you let you lead you to believe any otherwise. And JT, thank you so much for being here and singing with us through this absolutely chaotic discussion of the used discography.
Dude, it was so much fun. This was so much fun. I would do it again in a heartbeat. Thank you so much for having me.
We'd love to have you back at some point. I think we should absolutely make that happen. I know there were a couple other bands that we talked about potentially doing before landing on the used. So we may have to circle back at some point because I think this was a lot of fun. This was a good discussion.
Yeah. And if you ever want to do a little sub episode and ask me about the famous last words stuff, I'm the source of truth. I got all this stuff for you.
I would love to do that, actually. And that might honestly be like a really good bonus episode.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
To go through maybe how you rank the famous last words albums or talk about the stories on them or anything like that. Yeah, little choose your favorite children energy on that.
Oh, easy.
Oh, it's easy. He says it's easy, so I guess we might have to circle back and talk about that. JT, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I really need to hear that. And thank you to everyone who listened through the entire episode. We appreciate you, and we will see you on the next one.